all, I would like to extend our warmest welcome to Mr. Koh Han, our honorable speaker of today, the dedicated organizing committees, and our dearest participants.
We would also like to represent the Tunku Abdul Rahman University College Marketing Society to express our sincere appreciation to Philosophy Malaysia, our platinum sponsor who has generously sponsored us in making this event a success.
Just a gentle reminder for everyone, please mute your microphone throughout the sharing session to avoid causing any unnecessary sound disturbance. You are also encouraged to attend this talk using your computer or laptop for better experience. Finally, everyone please give ear to Mr. Koh and keep your eyes on the screen for the next 2 hours. We can guarantee you that today will be fun and full of learning.
Simply tell you guys that we are not only giving out 30 prizes for the early birds, but we are also keeping 20 prizes to the end of this event. So stay tuned for the upcoming lucky draw session.
For today's talk, namely LinkedIn Essential Guide, Grow and Grow Your Employability. We would like to focus on how to harness LinkedIn to enhance our employability.
Wow, what an interesting topic. I heard you say that Mr. Koh Han will be our speaker for today's topic, but I know nothing much about him. Denise, may I learn more about the background and career of Mr. Koh?
Sure. Before we get started, allow us to introduce our honorable speaker, Mr. Koh Han. With 15 years experience in leading diverse broad-based
15 years experience in management consulting, principal consultant for Change Dynamic Consulting,
he is currently the principal consultant for Change Dynamic Consulting.
Besides that, he is also the founder of Prime for Success, which seeks to enhance the employability of Malaysian young graduates with more than 1,000 participants over 35 sessions. In the past, we were very fortunate to have Mr. Koh to become one of our speakers for Redefine Marketing Virtual Conference in August 2021. 3 months have passed, and we are so lucky to have Mr. Koh here again to give us another knowledgeable talk.
Once again, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. We sincerely hope that the talk today will provide a better insight to each and everyone here on how to harness LinkedIn to grow and grow your employability.
If you have any queries, you may make use of the chat box, which is on the right side of your screen, to ask any question relevant with the topic itself.
I didn't ask you one.
What?
Get on my line.
Okay.
Without further ado, we will pass the time to Mr. Koh. Mr. Koh, the stage is yours.
Okay, good evening. Just to check, is there echo in?
No, we hear it clearly.
No, sir.
Is there echo? Okay. Because every time I use Google Meet, somehow will echo. Okay, so that's good. Once again, thank you so much to TARUC Marketing Society for once again inviting me to deliver my favorite topic. I think I cannot stop talking about this topic because I think it's just so important, and especially to all young people like yourselves in that sense, right? First and foremost, before I even get into the proper topic, I'd like to maybe just give some background of the kind of situation that we are facing in Malaysia. And I think all of you would be able to appreciate this quite a bit. Therefore, why creating the why or the reason for being active on LinkedIn to seize employment or employability opportunities. Right?
LinkedIn.
So one of the most important thing that if you have not heard, let me be the first one to tell you that Malaysia, we are actually considered a very small country comparatively in terms of economy, size of economy, even in terms of population. But nevertheless, I think opportunities given, we are lacking far behind from our neighbors, including Indonesia, Thailand for the longest time ever. And now, of course, with the emergence of China, places like Vietnam, Cambodia, and even Laos, right? So, in a way, it is, if you want to compare, and Burma as well, Burma was the up and rising until the coup happened, right? But I believe that they will come back in a short future. So with that arising, as graduates, all of you, or undergraduate scholarly, moving on as you finish your studies, you definitely would like to come out and pursue a job. Hopefully, I'm talking to the right crowd, because I think all of you are looking to embark on a career or a job after your graduation, right? Unless any one of you who are not, then you're in the wrong class. Okay. But even if you want to do your own business, it is related more so in that sense. So, looking at such, the current scenario or the current landscape, and I'm talking without COVID. Okay, so COVID is a distraction, I would say. Distraction in the sense that it tries to muzzle out what is actually in the real sense. But at the same time, it's also expedited a lot of things that we've been keeping under the carpet, quote unquote. So that's why a lot of companies are having financial challenges, also struggling, because not that is the pandemic only, but before that, they were already having challenges. Just that the pandemic surfaced it up to an extreme or extreme kind of conditions, right? So I just want you to park COVID aside for the time being, but really focus on job opportunities in Malaysia. Okay, and this is one story I cannot stop talking about to undergraduates like all of you, because when I first saw the figure, I was shocked myself. So maybe let's check, just check and see how many of you know this number. Of course, you have attended my previous talk, you have heard this number before, but for those who have not, just make use of the chat room so that we can also have some kind of interaction. So the question is, how many young people graduate from Malaysian university and colleges every year? What is the number, right? So there is an exact number, but I just want to see your answers. Please go to the chat box and hit a number that you think. The number of graduates. This cut across public university, private university, colleges, polytechnic. These four categories. So IPTA, IPTS, polytechnic, and community college or other colleges. What do you think is the number of graduates? Feel free to hit the chat box. Okay, Willie say 30,000. So very extreme. So we got from 30,000 to 5 million to 104 million, 1 million, 100,000, 50,000. Okay. Very tembak. Can nowhere be million We only got like 28 million population, right? If every year graduate 1 million, 30 years full already.
Population 爆了。
Okay. So we got low of. Okay, all those people who put 1 million, I will ignore you. I think you are pushing a lot. Okay. So we got from anywhere between 30,000 to Ping Han is 100,000, is it? Yeah, 100,000. Zian is 100,000. Eng Chi is 50,000. Marcus, very interesting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 120,000, right? All those people who put million, I'll ignore you. Ching Li put 150,000, okay. Fu Wei is 48,000, almost 50,000. Kai Sheng also 50,000. Below 50,000, all right. Zin En, okay, 350,000, very specific, okay. All right. So just Malaysia alone, this number comes from Ministry of Higher Education. It is 295,000, 295,000 annually every year. Okay, and this 295,000 has not included friends that went overseas to pursue their tertiary education. So any of your friends who went to overseas to get their degrees, right? Yeah, the number is not included. And the ministry don't have the number for that. Okay, they because the Foreign University practices Personal Data Protection Act. Therefore, you cannot ask them specifically to tell who are the Malaysians there or how many of them are there. So they don't have a specific number for the number of students who pursue overseas education. But my estimate is about another 50,000. Okay, so yeah, whoever who answered 350,000, you are spot on. So every year it is 350,000 new graduates every year. Right? Now my next question, and see whether you want to play this game, continue to play this game with me. Don't put million million don't make sense, all right? So another ministry, Ministry of Human Resources, okay, Kementerian Sumber Manusia, okay, also compile a report every year. They ask all the company to report how many new jobs created over the year. What do you think the number is? Take a wild guess. You can hit the chat room as well. Okay, we'll start after Kapoi. Okay, what is the number of new jobs created annually in Malaysia? Lilin, you are quite optimistic of our country. Siuling very pessimistic. 10,000. Who else? Kai Xing also 15,000. Okay, right. So the number reported is 115,000. 115,000, right? And need to qualify this 115,000 is not a new job for fresh graduate, right? It's just new job created, and some of these new jobs are looking for experienced hire because there was a need. Let's say IR 4.0, data science, and whatever. They created a new job called data scientist, but this new data scientist job is not for fresh graduate. It's for people with experience. Okay. So you can just imagine the number of jobs available for fresh graduate. Okay. So you do simple maths, 350 minus 115, all right? You roughly know what is the number of people unemployed. Okay. That is why you find a lot of fresh graduates, they become what we call the gig economy. They become Grab food riders, food panda riders, Grab drivers, right? And so on and so forth, right? And becoming more and more alarming to a certain extent. And I saw this about 4 years ago, and I was quite alarmed on one hand, right? The other hand, as a management consultant, probably you heard from my profile, my job is to go around to meet companies to help them to look at their business processes, business technologies, and also management or leadership people, development, inclusive. And the area that I niche out or specialize in is actually HR, human resources. So for the last 15 years in management consulting, every time I go to a client, my client will tell me, Mui Han, very, very susah to actually hire fresh graduate. Or Marcus, the number is 115. Okay. So most of my clients will tell me, hey, the fresh graduate this day, very, very unemployable. For start, they cannot talk properly, then English also no good, then ask them to do simple work also cannot do, some with accounting finance but cannot do simple books or simple budget, those with software engineering or computer science cannot even code properly, engineering cannot, engineers cannot draw AutoCAD, simple one, and so on and so forth. So for the longest time ever, got this complaint, right? And don't worry, every generation, the old people will complain about the young people. Okay? So 20 years from now, when you all are managers somewhere, you also complain about the next generation. I'm sure the conversation you'll be having 20 years from now is saying, why all these young people hopeless? Strawberry lah, snowflake lah, or whatever and not, right? So that is not the point. I think every generation compares themselves unfairly to the next generation or the generation before. So consistently there's complaint. But you see, it's very interesting. If let's say, so the official figure, all right, so ministry also come up with official figure. They do what they call a tracer study, and this study is a survey done for all graduating students before you go for your convocation, right? To put on your robes and your square hat. They force you to take this survey. Government force you to take this survey by your university and colleges. If you don't take this survey, you cannot attend the convocation ceremony. That is a law, right? And in this survey, they ask you whether you have got a job and what type of job have you received, whether in line with what you studied, and also ask you to give a range of salary, starting salary and so on. So they wanted to see how many people study, whatever courses they study, and when they graduated, did they pursue jobs that is related to their study, and so on and so forth. Of course, the main question to ask whether you got a job or not, right? And this survey usually happens 6 months after your final paper. And Malaysia usually will end around June, July, most university and colleges. And convocation usually happens in the later part of the year, October, November, in that sense. So they will roughly gauge in the 6 months' time whether you get a job. Those days they call it the tracer study. These days they have renamed it called the SPKT. I cannot remember what is the acronym. It's an acronym for something. Anyway, so SPKT reports. This year, I think the minister played it down a little bit, but I think average every year is 100,000. 100,000 youth unemployed 6 months after they graduated from university and college. This has been a consistent number, all right? COVID, no COVID is 100,000, okay? Because 100,000 people fill in that survey to say that they got no job, right? They've been trying, right? So, this is the irony, my friends. 100,000 people no job, and at the same time, you walk into any company, any HR manager or admin manager will tell you, cannot find people. So, you see the irony, On one hand, there are so many people don't have job, young people with qualification don't have job. On the other hand, everybody complaining cannot find people. So this didn't make sense to me for the longest time ever. But 4 years ago, I decided to do something about it. I've been actively going into universities, running session. First physical session actually went into the university and run session. And then because COVID hit, then we went virtual, right? Of course, with virtual better, I could actually run more sessions. So physical sessions, 4 years, I run about 50 sessions across 22 universities. I go to both private and public university, all the way from Kedah to Johor to Sabah and Sarawak. You name it, I go. Right? I've been to Kelantan as well, Terengganu as well, and so on and so forth. So every other state I've been in that sense. And with COVID since last April, I gotten even more engagement. This week itself, I got 3. Yeah, so you're the first one. Right? Thursday, I got 2. Afternoon one and night one. So it's almost non-stop in that sense. But it's a very serious thing, friends. And that's why I continue to do what I do. Because I believe if every year there's 100,000 of you who don't have a job 6 months after you graduate, eventually the country will suffer. It will going to be a what we call social issues in that sense. Okay, so so let's not talk about the 100,000 because I don't wish you to be 100,000. And if any one of you think that you're not going to be the 100,000, then I also would ask you to think otherwise. Okay, because across 50 universities that I've been, across 28 universities that I've been running more than 100 sessions, 50 physical one, another 50 virtual one. The biggest misconception, the biggest mistake most undergraduates have is because I got a degree, I definitely get a job. Right? So if you have this belief system, then it's quite dangerous because you'll be very, very complacent. Of course, your university or your college don't like me saying this because the marketing person tell your parents, don't worry one, do degree with us, sure get job one. Employability quite okay, blah blah blah, and this and that, right? And to a certain extent, I'm not trying to dispute them, but reality is such. It is a very, very challenging situation out there. Okay, so if any one of you graduating soon or within the next 6 months and think that don't worry, I will sure get a job, then I would really encourage you to think otherwise because I can tell you it's so competitive. It's so competitive. Just to give you an example, okay? All of you heard of this company called Nestle? Have you heard of Nestle? Right. So Nestle is one of the big multinationals in the food and beverages world. In fact, they operate in what we call the fast-moving consumer goods, but focusing on a lot of foods and beverage, right? So Nestle every year runs what they call a graduate development program. So it's a management training program. And to get into that program, you got to attend don't know how many assessments and interviews and whatever, right? So all the years since they started, it was quite fully subscribed. From the number, I think a few years ago was 5,000 applications, and of the 5,000 applications, only 50 people get selected, right? Annually. So you can do the maths, how what is the percentage of you being successful if you do apply for it. In fact, this year, because of COVID, is even more intense. I was told, right, this year's application was 8,000 applicants. 8,000, right? And they also reduced the intake from 50 to 30 only. So, so that is just an example. And I was, somehow or other later I'll promote my session a bit. So I was in my session, Time for Success. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this talk. I hosted the HR director of Heineken, right? Not promoting beer here, but somehow she joined my session to share about how to be more employable and some tips that she was giving to the students that were joining our session, right? So when I shared the Nestle example, then she laughed. They say, why you laugh? They say, oh, because 8,030 space, that one considered still got 30 vacancies. In Heineken itself, this year, they had 500 applications for their graduate management training program, and they only got 1 vacancy. So when I heard that, I was like, Okay, it is quite a big challenge, right? And not only that, these are just the examples I know because I'm related. I mean, I still have friends or understand the food industry a bit. But any other industry, you name it, it is very, very, very competitive. Okay, so please don't be comfortable thinking you sure get a job, right? Not necessary so, right? And these days, 20 years ago, when people and my peers don't get a job, they say, don't worry. They say, you got no job, don't worry. You become a insurance salesperson because that job definitely got availability and also pays well, right? Just you need to PR lah, you need to work very hard, then you get it done, right? These days, I can tell you, even for insurance agent, very hard to get in because Bank Negara has changed the law. So you will see the agency head are very, very, how to say, the agency head are very, very discerning. They are quite selective of who becomes their agent. 20 years ago, they just take whoever, you want, okay, can already join, right? Then they give you all the training and see what happens to you 6 months later. If you work, very good. If it doesn't work, they say thank you very much and then find the next person. And I got friends who are agencies leaders, used to stand in front of the university. I study in UPM. They used to stand in front of UPM gate in Sedang and pass out flyer, non-stop to recruit new agents. These days, I was told they no longer do that. Okay, so you see how competitive it is this day. You want to become insurance agent, also not so easy, right? As there's a lot of requirements. So please don't be sad or don't be alarmed. And if you're thinking, what on earth this TARUC Marketing Society invited this guy to come and tell us horror story on a Monday night? Okay, it is not my intention to make you feel bad or feel sad, right? But I just wanted to give you a perspective. I think it's very important because after 100 sessions, my greatest realization with university graduates is that you all are still doing what we did 20 years ago, right? So you roughly know my age. I'm in my 40s. So when I walk around, I don't blame all of you. In fact, anybody who say that, all the young people are very lazy, very entitled, very blah, 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 and all that thing, I personally don't believe it. Okay, every generation there is a spectrum. There's a very good ones, very hardworking ones. There is the in the middle, and there's also totally those who don't do nothing. Every generation got, right, even older folks in that sense. But one thing I realized is whatever most young people, and I'm generalizing here, okay, and so far it's not been wrong, that are doing in university and colleges are still exactly what we did in university and colleges 30 years ago. Okay, so while I don't blame you because I was once like that, but one significant thing has changed tremendously. The world has changed. Okay, it has changed so fast that if you continue to do what I used to do, it is almost impossible to get a job, right? I would dare to use that word, right? So comes LinkedIn, okay? So I spent 20 minutes galentong without talking about LinkedIn to give you a business case of why you need to be on LinkedIn, okay? So let me see whether I just want to share. Okay. So my entire 4 years journey has been in pursuit of one role model, okay? And this role model, surprisingly, was a university graduate when I first saw him on LinkedIn, right? So I wanted to do something for the graduates or the undergraduates. I was trying to find a topic that I can talk about, which not many people talk about. And I was looking around and I decided, LinkedIn is the topic, okay? Because there are a lot of CV career coaches. There's a lot of coaches out there to teach you how to do well in the job interview. there are a lot of grooming, how to dress up, how to, speech and whatever. There's so many of those, right? But when I look at the landscape, teaching university students how to use LinkedIn, TARUC, or very few in that sense. So I say, okay, this will be my topic, my champion topic, right? So, but there was a problem 4 years ago. I don't know much about LinkedIn. Okay? So I myself, what they call mong cha cha a bit. So I thought I do the next best thing. I wrote to LinkedIn. Wow, very gung ho. This was 4 years ago. So I wrote to LinkedIn. At that time, LinkedIn didn't have an office in Malaysia. It was in Singapore. So I said, dear LinkedIn, I'm this concerned citizen that want to help our next generation, blah, blah, blah. I believe that, using LinkedIn will enhance their, employment opportunity, blah, 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 and blah, 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 and things like that. Hoping to get some support. Then they quickly replied me, say, thank you, but no thank you, Mr. Koh. You do whatever you want to do. We got nothing to do with you. You got nothing to do with us. If you can find a university got a lot of students, then you write in to us and tell us. We may consider to support you. If not, then you're on your own. Okay. So then I say, I that say for I want to jalan already. So this generation not only you we all included in this generation. The one good thing about is if you don't know the answer, you can easily find the answer, right? So I did the next best thing. I go and refer to my best friend called Mr. Google, right? So how to position yourself on LinkedIn, right? And I spent months doing that. But still book knowledge, but good, you learn a bit of tips and here. And then when you're on LinkedIn, I started to search for all these LinkedIn expert, LinkedIn gurus, quote unquote. They many share a lot of different techniques. But I realized that one challenge, and I think it wasn't this talk, I think my previous talk wanted me to speak on personal branding. Then I told the organizers during Redefine Marketing, I'm very scared to talk about personal branding because all the personal branding talk teach you how to do branding, right? But branding doesn't mean you get employed. Because I know a lot of young influencers on social media, very influential. I mean, on LinkedIn itself, also we got a few young ones, 15,000, 20,000, 30,000 followers, right? But doesn't mean that they are employed, right? So I come from a school of thought, right? Whatever techniques that I wanted to teach the students or the undergraduates is not for you to become an influencer, right? So happen you become influencer, then your bonus, right? So happen if you become influencer, your bonus. But all the techniques that will focus is to really help you to get a job. That is my only intention, okay? So as a result of that, when I was researching what to teach students, I found this guy. And at that time, he was a third-year student in MMU, Multimedia University in Cyberjaya. If I'm not mistaken, he has a business admin degree. Okay. And I was looking at his posting week after week, and I find this guy slightly different from every other undergraduate to have a LinkedIn account, right? Quite different. So I'm going to show you 3 postings that he posted. This was 3 years ago, and invite you to tell me what is he trying to do, right? On LinkedIn. Okay, if I can just share my file. Yeah. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Mr. Koh, we can see your screen.
Okay. So this is one posting he posted, right? Yeah, by the name, his name is Afiq lah. So Afiq was the person that I was following on LinkedIn. I didn't personally know him, just follow him because I thought whatever he was doing on LinkedIn was quite interesting, and he was just a third-year student there. Okay, so this was about 4 years ago lah. When I screenshot it was much later. So let me quickly just read out to you what he was posting. So he said, choice is what you have and what you dictate at a good time meeting, blah, blah, blah. Krishna Chaitanya, Associate Director of Deals, Working Capital in PwC Malaysia. Okay, just to give you a context, PwC, I was from PwC, or I worked in PwC once. Associate Director is reporting to the Director. The Director is reporting to the partner. So the partner is the highest ranked person in PwC lah. So Associate Director is almost like a senior manager. Okay, working blah 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 is beyond numbers. Most importantly, emphasize importance of very truly genuine mentor in workplace. At least build good relationship. 5 different people doing that. Blah 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 blah. And then he put one photo of him and Krishna having lunch. Okay, so that's Krishna. Okay. Next. SP Satya. SP Satya is the biggest developer, one of the biggest developer in Malaysia. It's owned by Pemodalan Nasional Berhad, making it a GLC. Okay, and CHRO, Chief HR Officer, is this lady by the name of Nadia Tan Abdullah, right? So here Afiq posts again with Nadia. I don't know whether you can see the picture small, right? So it was like such a camaraderie facilitating circle, Team SP Satya has supportive of one another, blah, 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 blah. And then you take picture with Nadia and then her team behind there in SP Satya office. Last one. Awesome man behind Accenture Malaysia. Accenture is the global technology consulting firm, right? The Malaysian country managing director is this guy by the name of Aswan Baharudin. And here he's with my friend Afiq, next to him. So he said, Aswan dropped by his university campus today, not only being sharp and visionary, definitely have millennial game strong, much to learn in the future, blah, 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 blah. Okay, my question, in these 3 posting, what is my friend Afiq trying to do? You can share your answers in the chat box. What is he trying to do? You all understand my question? Huh? By the way, this is just 3 samples I taken. He have posted much more than this. Every other day will be some posting like this with some senior corporate leader, either having lunch or taking a selfie or whatever. Right? So, yeah, what is he trying to do when he posted all this? Anyone? Or you can unmute yourself and say, I think typing is too slow. Oh. Networking, socializing, key managers, okay, make himself look good, okay, getting connection, promote himself, exposed to different, okay, putting himself in the spotlight, get attention, yeah. Right. I totally agree with you, Shen Lim. When I first saw this, I thought, wow, okay, this fellow very show off. 3rd-year student already want to show he got big boss contact lah. No, not only one big boss. This big boss also that big boss also and so on and so forth. Right? So that was my first thinking lah. But then 6 months later, after watching him flexing his muscle, okay, no muscles lah, but maybe he actually quite scrawly, actually no muscle, right? 6 months after following him, then he changed his status. He did an internship, right? Take a wild guess where he did his internship. No, because definitely not. He's changed his status in LinkedIn to show that he's doing internship in this particular organization. Take a wild guess which organization he did his internship. Okay, definitely not Nestle. Okay, nice try, PwC. Maxis, no. KPMG, no. Any other? Wow, all the big four you had done already, right? Later I'll tell you the EY story. Yes, the EY story. Yeah, he did some NGO though, but he didn't do his official internship in the NGO lah. He got a mandatory contain. Wow, you all really tembak. Okay, don't waste time already. So it must be one of the three lah. I don't show you the three picture, right? So just to make conversation, he did his internship in Accenture. Okay, so when he did his internship in Accenture, then I suddenly realized, okay, in like is this the game to play? Huh? That's how you play the game, right? You position yourself very closely with the big boss over a period of time. To use that opportunity to build relationship, and then when the time is needed, you message the big boss and say, by the way, do you have internship vacancy? Ta-da! And that's how you get internship, right? Okay, I'm just dramatizing. I don't know the story for sure, right? But he did his internship in Accenture. So I then realized he has a pattern. Okay, so it's a pattern recognition. So I saw him doing this repeatedly, okay, over a period of time, and I concluded, as graduates or young graduates like him, you can also use his method, right, to actually make yourself more employable. And that's how I decided, yes, I'm ready. I go into university. So I don't share my own method because I got none. I share a method which I observed him doing, okay? So I'll share this method with you right after I tell the next story. So I told you I run 50 physical sessions plus another 50 virtual sessions, right? So the 50 physical sessions is the story. So from session 1 to session 38, I told similar story like this. I tell blah, 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 show you the 3 posting, and then say, oh, that's how he got his internship, this is what you do, and then here is his formula, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, right? So that's how I start all my workshop, right? And for anybody who want to organize a workshop featuring me in their university, I got also different version. I got a 4-hour version, 3-hour version, 2-hour version. Like tonight is the 1.5-hour version. So if you feel that, hey, looks like not enough, because I only got 1.5 hours, right? And I also reserve that for Q&A as well, right? So if anyone open, there's more than coming to 200 people on this call. Any one of you gung-ho enough to organize a 4-hour session for you and your friends can get in touch with me on LinkedIn, okay? The deal is you must bring 30 people. You bring 30 people, then we can talk already, right? So I got a 3-hour version, 4-hour version, 2-hour version, 1.5-hour version, 1-hour version. This Thursday I'm gonna try. I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but I'll try my best. Okay. So anyway, session 1 to 38, I was telling this story, same story I just told you, right? And the caveat is I never met this guy. Okay. And he will somehow also notice me because after or during my session, when I get the participants to go onto their LinkedIn account, natural choice is to add him on LinkedIn. All right. So if any one of you feel like doing that tonight, right, just do me a favor, send him a personalized note to say, I heard your name or heard your story from Wei Han in his session. I would like to connect with you. Please drop my name, okay? Because if not, he will suddenly tiba-tiba, multi-team get like 50 invites, don't know from TARUC, don't know what happened, right? And he don't know where it's coming from, right? And it happened a lot during my 38 session. I go to Kelantan, 50 people invite him on Kelantan. I go to UUM, 50 people in UUM invite him at one shot, and so on and so forth, right? To connect on LinkedIn. Right? So before 39 session, I say, better go and meet this guy. If not, tell the wrong story, right? Very bad, right? I didn't validate this story. So I made lunch appointment with him. Right? This was way before COVID. So I say, hey friend, I've been using your story, telling all these people in the different university, what you do and things like that. But maybe just to be grateful and be grateful to you, I'd like to buy you lunch, right? So at that juncture, he already started work in EY, right? So his first official job, commercial job rather, was in EY, Ernst & Young, as a consulting analyst, okay? And it was 3 months in the job. He was at a client in Bangsa South. I remember I went Bangsa South to have lunch with him. So I was telling him all these things, hey, thank you very much, I get to use your story, blah, 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 and things like that. I think it's very effective, finished, right? Then he said, wanted to tell you something. So sorry, before that. So I asked him, hey, by the way, I also keep telling everybody you got the 5-step formula. This is the 5-step that everybody should follow, Afiq, If you can repeat this 5-step formula, then you'll also be as successful as Afiq or be as employable as Afiq, right? So can I just check with you whether this 5-step is correct? So I name out step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, right? Don't worry, I'll tell you the 5-step later, okay? So they say, I wouldn't call the step like that, but whatever you say is not wrong. So I said, okay, I will take it, right? Because it doesn't mean that I need to follow your creation, but this is what you do. I observe it, I document it, and I just wanted to confirm this is exactly what you do. So he confirmed it. Just that he don't call it the 5-step. I call it the 5-step, okay? So any one of you connect with him, don't go and ask him, hey, your 5-step. He doesn't know the 5-step. 5-step is coming from me, right? Not from him. Although he's doing it, okay? He's doing it, right? So then I said, okay, good. At least I wasn't lying in the last 38 session, convincing everybody to behave like Afiq, but I didn't know the truth, right? So safe. So, but what I didn't know, because this one wasn't apparent in LinkedIn, he told me this story. He said, the most interesting thing is how he got his job in EY. And that happened 3 months ago. I mean, at that time, 3 months ago, because he was in his job 3 months. So he said, one fine day, the recruitment manager of EY, right, the internal recruitment manager of EY, messaged him on LinkedIn and said, hey, we got a vacancy for analysts. Would you be interested? If so, can we schedule an interview? Okay? So he was very surprised. He didn't apply for this job. Just recruitment manager message him. Tiba-tiba saja. Right? So then he replied, then he made appointment, then okay, he went for interview. So go to EY, do the interview, do the assessment, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of everything, after 2 hours, the recruitment manager said, good, you pass everything, and we'd like to make you an offer to join us as an analyst. Here is the offer letter. Please read it carefully, and sign it, and then return to us by next Friday, something like that, blah, blah, blah. So he was very shocked. First, tiba-tiba get invitation for interview, then, call him the interview, then get offer letter, then, which was quite unique in his case, or in many cases, don't happen like that. So then he said, hey, just before I go back, just wanted to ask this question. I didn't apply for this job. How did you find me? or where did you find me? In that sense, right? I didn't apply for this job. Although I'm very interested. So the recruitment manager said something which I still remember, which he told me, which I thought was very bizarre, but I can imagine it's being true. So he said, so the recruitment manager said, I don't know what you did 2 years ago on LinkedIn. That was 2 years ago. That means your second year, right? I didn't know what you do at that time, but on one occasion, you either commented on my senior partners, the big boss posting, or he commented somewhere, you commented on his comment, one of those things. And he cannot even know, he don't even know which posting because so long ago, right? And if you're active on LinkedIn, everything just moves very fast, right? Things like that. So he can't trace back. See, because of that posting, our senior partner was so impressed with you, he came to the recruitment department and say, can you monitor this young man? By the time he graduates, I want him in our firm. That is why we invited you for this interview. And literally, this interview is just, formality. We already wanted to offer you the job because the big boss says so. So when I heard that story, I was like, wow, this is no joke. It's really, you probably think you saw this in movies, but I can tell you it really happened. It really happened. And when I sat back and think about it clearly, actually it's not so surprising because why? The power of social media is actually that is the case, right? You use this platform to actually get connected with people that you probably don't know, and using that to build relationship, and you quote unquote monetize that relationship into something that you want. In this case, you monetize it into a job that you want or an internship opportunity that you want, right? And it is possible. So I was very, very inspired. That's why I continue to say, okay, I must come and spread your good message to all the young graduates out there or undergraduates out there to say, hey, you guys are study hard is needed, being active in activities is needed, but more importantly, you need to translate all this achievement into some kind of LinkedIn strategy. And using this LinkedIn strategy will translate into getting the job that you want. Okay? So, Marcus, what course he study? Business, if I'm not mistaken. Business admin. Okay? So, ready? I don't have slide because I think Google Meet share slide very fun. Okay? So, I'm going to give you his 5 steps or my 5 steps following him. All right? So, what did Afik do to be so successful in getting the job he want using LinkedIn? So, step 1. Okay? So, step 1 is what I call having a professional LinkedIn profile. Okay? How to do that? Please somebody organize the 3 hours class, then I come and teach you. Right? 1.5 hours I cannot teach you. Step by step, section by section, too many things to cover, right? So having a professional LinkedIn profile is step 1. Okay? Step 2 and step 3 is interchangeable. So you can do step 3 first, then do step 2, do step 2 first, or then do step 3. Whichever comes, doesn't matter. But step 1 must be first. Step 2 is what I call connecting with the professionals. So on a daily basis, our friend that time, now I don't think he do that. On a daily basis, this guy target the professional managers or the corporate managers that he want to be connected on LinkedIn. Every day he target 3 to 5 people to add on LinkedIn. So he not like you and me when we get onto social media platform or we get into LinkedIn. What do? We add people that we know. So you add your friend, you add your classmate, you add your classmate, you add your family members, everybody that you know you add because somebody told you on social media, please do not add people that you don't know, right? So you only add the people that you know, right? So that's what you do. That's what I do. But our friend very different. Our friend target one. So all this is no coincidence. Is connected to him, right? Because why he targets. So he asks himself, which company I want to work for in the future, and assuming that every 3 years I change one company, and I want to work for 30 years. So easily got 10 companies he want to work for, or 15 companies, right? So he will target the 15 companies and to ask himself, who are the key managers or key bosses in these 15 companies? Are they on LinkedIn or not? Then let's get connected with them. So he literally does that. Target connections every day without fail. Right? Step 2. Step 3, again, you can do step 3 first, then do step 2, or step 2 first, then step 3. Doesn't matter, right? Interchangeable. Step 3, every day, he actively comments on their posting. This is the one that got him the EY job, right? Now, I give you a statistic. This one very, very interesting statistic. Because I've been an active LinkedIn user, because of this, the last 4.5 years, I'm very active. I can tell you, any corporate person that do a posting on LinkedIn, okay, would not get more than 20 to 30 comments. Maximum 30 wouldn't get more than 30. Unless your posting is very controversial, right? Then a lot of people come and comment on it, come and scold you in that sense, right? If you do a normal posting, maximum 20, 30 people will comment. Okay? And more importantly, of the 20, 30 people who comment, less than 5% are undergraduate. Okay? So our friend become top 5% because why? Nobody comment, no young people comment, he come and comment. Okay? So he will do, sorry for the language, shit like, he go to Aswan Baharudin's posting, Aswan post something about digital transformation in the telco world. Wow, then he put comment here. Sir Aswan, your perspective on digital transformation in the telecommunication industry is very insightful. I particularly like the 3 strategies that you outline, to do adoption, blah, blah, blah. Then you write one grandmother story there, right? So he will do things like that. He either read up, research, and then give a perspective to the posting, right? How many of you dare to do such thing? Our friend actively does it every day, right? This is not the only thing. I caught him doing this once, which I thought was, this one high kung fu, the kung fu very high. Must learn and practice also. So not only he comment to agree, he comment to disagree. Wow, this is the mess. This is the best one. So he will write things like something like that. So, similar. Let's say I use the same example because I cannot remember the real example, right? But I use similar example like this. So he say, your piece on digital transformation for the telco industry was very, very inspiring. You talk outline about the three processes that they need for the adoption, and I particularly like step 3, blah, 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 and this one really supports. However, for step 2, as a millennial, he throw the young person card. As a millennial, I beg to differ because young people, when it comes to technology adoption, is very different from what you've described in step 2. He disagreed with the big boss on social media, right? I won't discount now. I know a lot of young people also do this, but you do this with a politician, right? Which is a waste of time, I know all of you, not all of you some of you like to scold the politician because they are so sickening, right? So you also do it on their social media, do it on their Twitter, do it on their Facebook, but they are all waste of time. Don't help you in it. Our friend does it with corporate senior people, which is unthinkable in my aspect, okay? So that is step 3, okay? So 2 and 3 can interchange. So sometimes he comment first. After he comment few times, only he connect with them. Because why? After you comment few times, the person will definitely remember you. Because only 5% young people comment on your post. And why you need a professional LinkedIn profile is because whoever that comments on my post, especially if I've not seen them before, I will definitely check out your profile. So similarly with all the corporate managers, when he comments on their post for the first time, they will check out his profile. then they will say, oh, not bad, this fellow, oh, so young already, do so many things, oh, he got this over there perspective, oh, so after a few, 3 comments, then he send invitation to connect, dear Sir Aswan, I've been following you, may want to just connect with you professionally on LinkedIn, blah, 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 top, sure get already. Versus you just my hantam connection, nobody know who you are, they ignore you, right? So that's the strategy. So you can do step 3 first, then the step 2 also can. Sometimes more effective. Step 4. This one very poachy also. Because again, I speculate one. I didn't know he was doing this, but I speculate. But sure enough, he was doing this. So non-COVID time, COVID time harder, but I think we are getting back to non-COVID time. So you can also use this strategy. Okay. So he will hunt for events, and because you are in the Klang Valley, there's a lot of events, corporate events, university events, government agency events, where some of these leaders, some of these corporate managers or leaders are speakers. Okay, especially people like Aswan or even Nadia always speak in forums and seminars in that sense in those days. I think right after next year they will come back definitely. This one won't go away. So he also attend, right? Because 80% of a lot of these seminars and talks are free of charge. Don't need to pay. You just need to dress nicely, present yourself, and then you attend, sometimes the university also organize. So you go, right? So as any participant in any seminar will attend after the talk, right? I will also do this. I don't know about you, but I will also do this. I will be one of those people who line up to take selfie with the speaker. Okay? So after the talk, you line up, take selfie with the speaker, then you go take, then you go home already. But our friend take selfie very different. Very different. This is where the kung fu is, right? So he line up, then go to the speaker. All right. So before take selfie, he take out his phone. All right, ready to post already. Then he say, hey, by the way, Sir Aswan, I've been following you on LinkedIn for the last 6 months. Particularly last week, your piece on digital transformation for the telco industry. I tell you, one of the best articles ever written. I have never seen somebody else write that. Then take selfie. Again, I'm dramatizing. This is not word for word what you say to Azwan, but a version of it. Okay. So when you do that, instant rapport is being built. Okay. And I'm also sure the next conversation we have with this guy, he already asked for phone number and email. Okay. That is step 4. Step 5 is to consistently do it over a period of time before you ask for a favor. This one, many young people fail because why? I also get a lot of invitation to connect on LinkedIn, right? So I'm very non-discerning. As long as you're a university student, you're still in university, you send me an invite, I will connect. Even your profile don't look professional, okay? Because most of what I write and share on LinkedIn is targeted at university students. I want to help you all, right? And again, this one not my business. I don't make money doing career talks for students. I can tell you. Some pay me allowance, but that allowance also not enough to, but tonight your organizer very good. Give me a very nice gift. Later I'll show everybody, because asked to show. Okay, but anyway, So most university student or fresh graduate do this mistake. You send an invitation to connect with the professional manager, and then the professional manager accept. The first thing you write is, sir, do you have a vacancy because I'm a fresh graduate, I'm graduate, blah, 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 blah. I was like, hey, who are you? I think, I don't know who you are. You have no right or you have not earned the right to ask for a favor. Okay? So with my friend Afiq, very different. He don't do this. He connect with you, talk to you, follow you, comment on your posting for 6 months to 1 year. Then, by the time it's needed, by the way, I need to do my wife, just to check, whether your firm or your organization got vacancy for internship, blah, blah, blah. So he do long tail, what we call long tail. So if you want to be successful on LinkedIn, you cannot do today this 5 technique and hope it bring result tomorrow. Won't happen. You need at least consistently for 6 months to see proper result. Okay, I'm already. I hit the time. So let's open for Q&A. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Komuihan, for his valuable insight, as well as exposing us on how to utilize LinkedIn to grow and grow our employability. It's really amazing. Hey, Denise, what do you think about the talk just now? Have you learned something from it?
Yes, definitely. Such as the amount of the fresh graduates and the new jobs that appears annually. It's really mind-blowing. Thanks, Mr. Kaur, for bringing that up. I bet that each and everyone here had also learned something from Mr. Kaur. Undeniably, it's truly our pleasure to have Mr. Kaur as our speaker today.
Absolutely. Now, without any further delay, we would like to open the floor to Q&A session. We will be having 20 minutes for the Q&A session. Therefore, you are encouraged to use this opportunity to clear your doubts. Kindly raise your hand before you unmute to express your doubt. Mr. Sia Liang Kong?
Okay, sir. Actually, about the QR code just now, I didn't check what was it. Can I look back?
Sorry, Mr. Sia, can you repeat your question?
Okay, just now I just missed the QR code. I don't know what the QR code for. So can I look back the QR code?
The QR code will be reposted later for the upcoming session, so you can see that again later.
Okay, sure.
Okay, how about releasing? Any question would you like to ask?
Yes. Thank you for sharing, sir. I'm Willie. I have 3 questions related to LinkedIn. Would like to know about it. My first question is, there is a function, a recommendation function in the LinkedIn, and I always saw that people, they keep recommend each others, like the A person say, I recommend you. Then he asks the person B to recommend him back. So would this how to describe a proper way to proceed in LinkedIn?
Okay, I answer your question first, then you ask the next question, all right?
Sure.
Right, thanks, Willie, for that question. Yeah, you might want to mute yourself because I scared got echo. Somehow or other, Google Meet got echo with my system. Okay, I don't know whether you're specifically talking about recommendation because the way you describe it is more about endorsement. So got 2 functions in LinkedIn. One is skills endorsement, the other one is recommendation. Recommendation is literally writing a testimonial of somebody on LinkedIn in that sense. Okay, that I will encourage you to do. But again, I can also tell you, you can write whatever you want. Malaysian employer, very, very discerning lah. So they wouldn't take too much of they wouldn't take too much of what is written as a basis of your character. Okay, because they know on social media, like you rightly say, I can write for you, you can write for me, and so forth. Okay. But having said that, as a functionality, if you have worked with somebody either in a project, either to or internship, either a part-time job, right, and they are on LinkedIn, you may want them to give you a recommendation. And recommendation is a written testimonial. And if they ask, hey, I don't know what to write, what to write for you. So you say, yeah, work with me. Can you just describe your experience with me and just, I mean, whatever you have experience of, and it doesn't need to be very long. So for those of you who actually get some value from this session, sharing session tonight, I will also encourage you to go to my LinkedIn profile and give me a recommendation, right? The reason for that, there's a reason why I encourage you to do recommendation is the number of recommendation actually has an impact on your virality, right? Because less than 5% of LinkedIn user has more than 10 recommendation, right? So if you can hit 10 and above, you are actually contributing towards your virality algorithm, right? Although LinkedIn don't outrightly talk about it, but certain LinkedIn experts or gurus speculate this is one of the reasons. Okay, so that is useful, but again, useful in terms of just pushing the algorithm to become much more. I mean, you have a wider reach view. For employers, I doubt they read, and if they do read, they won't also to be too influenced by whatever is written for recommendation. The one that I don't encourage you to do, okay, which endorsement, skills endorsement, because that is literally meaningless in employment context. Also related, although I'm not talking about CV, but I think I made a comment this afternoon on somebody's CV. Somebody posted their CV on LinkedIn and asked for feedback. So I posted a comment to say that in your CV, please don't put skills evaluation, right? A lot of you like to do that. That means you list down the kind of skills you have, computer skills, behavioral skills, then you give yourself 1 to 10, then you are number 7. Then you put another list of language proficiency. You speak English, BM and Mandarin, then you put there Mandarin 10 out of 10 written, 9 out of 10 spoken, English 8 out of 10 written, 7 out of 10 spoken, and so on and so forth. Please don't do that in your CV, right? So similarly, skills endorsement in LinkedIn is also what we call shots and delivery, because you get people to rate you, and these people, quote unquote, are not qualified to rate you in the skills that and also the language proficiency. Similarly, you are not qualified to rate yourself whether you are proficient or not in your CV. Okay, unless you have a standardized test. So, for instance, if you want to talk about your English proficiency, you went and take IELTS, the International English Test, right? Then you put your score there, all right? Then that is an internationally accepted standard for English. Nobody can dispute you. But if you rate yourself 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 7 out of 10, or whatever out of 10, that one is what we call shots and delivery. So skills endorsement, I don't encourage you to do. Recommendation, yes. But having said that, you should still do 5 endorsement for skills to qualify yourself to get what we call the all-star status. So if you are new to LinkedIn, they will ask you to fill up all the sections, and once you fill up all the sections, you get an all-star status. Important to get the all-star status, because why? All-star status compared to a person with no all-star status, the person with no all-star status, your profile is less searchable on LinkedIn, right? So you just tick the box. I think they need 5 skill endorsement. You quickly get a friend to endorse you 5 times, then count him already, right? But to actively pursue it to increase on that actually has not much value. Hope I answer your question.
Yes, understood. Thank you very much, sir. Coming next with my second question is related to the experience part at the LinkedIn profile, because I used to hear that for the experience part, better put the professional related job experience only. Don't put the others job such as maybe like waiter or promoter, because I used to hear speakers saying that this will shows that you are kind of like play. So better just put your internship experience or any professional job related at the experience part, rather than putting those promoter job or waiter uh, or any exhibition helper job on that part. I would like to know that is it true, or what is your opinion on it?
Okay, great question, really. I would always advocate that you put both internship and your part-time job. Just that the way you write the experience is very different from how you write it in CV. So the biggest mistake I would say that most undergraduates or even fresh graduate do, or even experienced hire do, is they copy and paste their CV into this work experience section in LinkedIn, right? Now, why we shouldn't do that? Because if let's say any employer like your profile, they will still ask you for your CV one. They will still ask you for your CV, right? Now again, I'm not talking about CV tonight, but you probably have heard this before. CV or resume should be a maximum 2 pages, if not 3 pages document, not more than that. So anything that appearing in your CV resume is usually 1 or 2 sentences, one. Very concise, very summarized, very straight to the point. Okay. Now that has good or bad purpose, but for CV resume purpose is good lah. So keep it as short, as simple as possible. Keep it direct, keep it to the point, right? And make it, don't tell too much grandmother, grandfather story, right? Now, however, on LinkedIn is very different. LinkedIn, each work experience, you are given up to maximum 1,300 character to write, right? Therefore, you can literally talk about your experience during the internship, talk about your experience during the part-time job. Okay. Now, if you just copy and paste the job description, then it becomes very boring. Because why? Waiter is a waiter. So if you write yourself waiter in this restaurant ABC, what is your job? How do you describe your job? Your job is just to serve people. No? So you probably, after the third line, you don't know what to write already. So this is the classic example which I like to give, all right? And I think whatever you heard wasn't wrong, but just the perspective may be slightly different. So for LinkedIn, you should actually document what you experience, what you learn, and what is the transferable skill in that part-time job. Okay, so internship no need to talk about it, but you can apply the same logic to internship. But internship is actually nearer to your final job that you want to do. But for those internship not in the same field or industry, you can apply this same logic which I want to share about on part-time job. So my classic example is this. I always share this example. So for instance, you are a barista in Starbucks, the guy that makes coffee in Starbucks for the last 6 months, part-timer. Every Saturday, Sunday, you work there for 6 hours, assuming, right? 6 hours on Saturday, 6 hours on Sunday for a period of, let's say, 6 months, right? As a part-timer. So if you describe your job as a barista in Starbucks in LinkedIn, again, it's very boring. You are making coffee, serving coffee, collect money. That's it. There's not much to write about. What I would do if you have experience in Starbucks is to really talk about what you actually learn in Starbucks Malaysia. And if you have been to any Starbucks, I'm sure all of you have been, right? You have been to any Starbucks in Malaysia or throughout the world, you will know that one thing that Starbucks really does very well, and I can say this with very big confidence, is their customer service excellence. And I also have hang around in Starbucks doing my work, right? Again, non-COVID days, and observe how the restaurant manager, train the new joiner or the newcomer. So they have a proper menu to teach them how to greet the customer, how to expect their needs, how to ask questions, how to repeat the order, and so on and so forth, and things like that. So if I were you, with a barista experience 6 months, part-timer, This is what I will write in my LinkedIn. Rather than to say that I serve coffee, collect money, things like that, I will talk about my experience. I'll give you an example off the cuff, right? My experience in Starbucks Malaysia has been all about learning what is customer service excellence all about. In Starbucks Malaysia, they pride themselves in providing the best customer service. There was one occasion where this particular customer was very upset because her order was wrong, and I was using the techniques taught by my supervisor to first calm her down, reassure her that we will get her order right, and replace the necessary orders to ensure that she gets superior branded customer service experience. And blah, 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 blah. So you can take the entire 1,003 characters in that section to describe this important learning of customer service experience that you gain from Starbucks. Now, you ask, how is this relevant? Serving coffee is not relevant in a lot of jobs unless you go into another cafe or you go into another F&B job. But customer service excellence is one transferable skill that is very relevant in a lot of industry. And this one employers would want to look at. So if you're able to position yourself to say that my part-time job is not just there to do admin work, it's not just there to count money, my part-time job actually give me this transferable skill that is very critical for my future, then it becomes a plus point. Another example, assuming you're a cashier in Tesco, or now they call themselves Lotus, Lotus Malaysia, right? If you just describe cashier in Lotus or any other mini market or Maidin or whatever, it will be a very low-level menial job. But if you talk about, let's say, Lotus, Tesco, if you're there for 6 months or even 12 months as a part-timer, you will know that this chain of stores have very good, stringent training SOP, to do things in a very structured, methodical, and also detailed manner. And you are trained, to do checklists as a cashier. Before you start work, you need to tick all your checklists. During, after you close your shift, you need to make sure that it tallies and things like that. So your description is you learn this quality of this skill set of being structured, of being, step by step. Everything that you do has a step, has a process step, and you understand the process step. You also have a way to check the process step is being done, and so on and so forth. That itself is a transferable skill. Not collecting money, not scanning people's item at the cashier, right? So focus on the behavior, focus on the transferable skill as a description, and because this is not CV, you can write as much as possible. You can even tell story, particularly on a given month or a given day where you have a specific experience. You can describe that in your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so let me just close this off. LinkedIn profile is not your digital CV. Can I repeat that? LinkedIn profile is not your digital CV. Your digital CV is not your LinkedIn profile. Okay? So don't equate the both, right? Because once you equate the both, you are limiting yourself, because this one allows you to write as much as possible. Not only that, your work experience section, you can even put picture in there, you can even put video there, you can even put PowerPoint slide there or PDFs files there. So you can actually describe projects that you do during the internship, projects that you do during the part-time, to actually show others your actual experience and learning. Okay, so hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. It did inspire me in different way to see this part. Okay, sir. My last question was, is for the accomplishment part. So we as a university student, we could add on the project that we had organized during our university time. So for this part, I used to hear two different way of speaking their perspective. A person say, for any project that you had organized, you have to write very details from A to Z in the description part. But the B person say, you don't have to write so details. You only need to write what have you learned by organizing this project in your university. That is pretty enough. So, would like to seek for your opinion on this perspective.
Okay. So if you understand search engine optimization, SEO, I mean, assuming that most of you are here because you're either marketing students or have some understanding of marketing, right? So if you understand search engine optimization, you would know that the algorithm for search, any search on social media, on the internet, or even within LinkedIn itself, they are focusing on keywords. Okay. Now the thing is, you don't actually know what keywords that your audience are searching for, or you don't know, you may not understand all the keywords that your so-called future employers or future collaborators or future opportunity are looking for. Because when they go to LinkedIn, they just type a keyword that they think is relevant and they see what search results come out. Of course, you can apply filters in the search lah. If you are familiar with LinkedIn search, you can apply filters of posting, apply search of people, apply search on location and companies and so on and so forth, right? But the point is here, right? So yes, you are right, really, to say there are two schools of thought. One school of thought will tell you to keep it short and simple to the point, emphasize on what you have achieved, make it quantifiable. In case, in fact, you should have a number, you should have a numeric there, how many people that you participated in the event, how much money that you raised, and so on and so forth, so that people can compare very well. If you have a quantifiable achievement, again, that advice is more related to CV resume. If you ask me how to write your CV resume, I will ask you to make sure that it's short and simple, quantifiable achievement and results. But on LinkedIn, you don't know who is looking at your profile. You cannot control one. The whole world is looking. And the whole world has different people looking at it for different things. So I would apply a bit of kiasuism, right? In the sense that the more you write, the better. Right until the fellow say cannot write anymore. You have reached the limit. Right? Every segment in LinkedIn got limit one. Even do a posting, they used to have a 1,300 character limit. Now they increase it to 3,000 because everybody complain like mad. Hey, I want to write, cannot write. And then I have to go and cut short. Then it doesn't, my story, doesn't fall through anymore. Then if I do 3 posting of the same story, then the same audience, don't get to read it, user experience all impacted. So in the last, I think 6 months or so, LinkedIn also increased, I think beginning of this year, increased to 3,000 characters. My advice is don't need to keep it short and simple. Write until you cannot write in that sense. Because why? You don't know what people are searching for. And your posting, your entry on your profile has a different audience reading it, right? So certain people like it straight to the point. Certain people like a bit of storytelling. Certain people like to specifically look for keywords that they are trying to look for, and so on and so forth. You don't know. You don't know. And you cannot control. So, write as much as you can. Classic story is when I first started out, I think 6 years ago, 5 years, 5 years ago, I documented all my projects, consulting projects, right? So if you go to my profile, in the project section, I got 20 projects listed, all my consulting project one. And each project, I give detailed description of what I do, what I deliver, and I don't give the client name, but I give a redacted version of who's the client, right? What industry they are from, what they wanted, how big is the organization, blah, 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 and things like that. Because of that posting, I got a consulting assignment from a UK firm one day. So this guy from UK messaged me on a Monday night like this, said, your qualification seems to be in line with the consultant that we are looking for. we got a project in KL, global project in KL. Don't know whether you're interested. If you're interested, you can schedule a call. So I replied him, yes, I'm definitely interested. So Tuesday we did a telephone call. He called from Manchester, called from London, and then we had like an hour chat. They said, oh, good, everything is in line. Then can you meet my project director who is in KL now? He's staying in this hotel. Can you go and see him? So when the project director interviewed me for 3 hours, right? Then after that, so he said, okay, you go back, we let you know. So at night, he tell me, tomorrow morning we got another director, but he's in US. So can you go another phone call with this director from US, from Atlanta? I said, okay, can. So that was Thursday morning. By Thursday night, they said, I think you're qualified for the job. Can you start on this assignment on Friday? So all within 5 days, I got the job. And this was a very lucrative job because why? Paid in USD. So started supposed to be just 10 weeks assignment in a consulting project in KL, became 22 weeks. Right? So, and I work with all these guilo who don't know me, I never know before, don't have any track record with them. But how they found me? Because they read my LinkedIn profile and I described certain projects of what they wanted. So if you ask me, do you write or overwrite? Please do so because you don't know who's reading.
Thank you very much, sir. I get to solve all my questions. Thank you very much. I much appreciate it.
Yeah, just qualify really. Don't do this in your CV. Okay, CV keep it short and simple. Okay, if not you get. Okay, I was actually told that only Q&A starts now so I think we got more time for additional Q&A, right? So yeah, anyone go ahead. Please don't waste the opportunity.
Sir, actually, I want to ask what are the don'ts when preparing a LinkedIn profile, which is something that I cannot do during creating the LinkedIn profile?
So of course we didn't do the how to prepare a professional LinkedIn profile. But okay, just to give you an example. So one of you, okay, I think interestingly, only one of you added me on LinkedIn tonight, right? Don't want to mention who, right? But this person on his headline has this title, Student at Tunku Abdul Rahman University College. That is a big no-no. Okay, so if you have that as a headline, that is number one thing that you shouldn't do. So what are the things that you shouldn't have in your headline, right? Student of a particular university, putting your degree name there, putting you are looking for a job, right? So I find some of you very cute one. Put there, seeking for internship starting in November 2021 to February 2022. Seriously, who cares? I'm not gonna be inspired by looking at your headline and saying, wow, this guy need internship, I must go and help him, right? Or fresh graduate or actively looking for a job. So all this shouldn't be in your headline. Okay, so maybe just to make it worthwhile since I talk about this. So formula for headline, got 3 parts. Okay, so part 1, again, I don't have slide, just listen and then take notes, make sure you take notes, and then make sure you go and change your headline. So part 1, you should put, and part, maybe I explain part. So got 3 parts. This part doesn't need to follow order one. So I just say part 1, part 2, part 3. You can put part 3 first, then part 2, then part 1, or you can put 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, doesn't matter. Just make sure that all of these are in your headline, right? So headline got 200 characters maximum, used to be 120 characters, right? So the number 1 function of headline is to grab attention, right? So student of TARUC University College don't grab attention. Not to say TARUC UC no lousy university or college, don't get me wrong, I didn't say that, okay? But there are just how many TARUC UC students are there? Thousands, right? So doesn't grab attention. So that shouldn't be your headline. That's the first function. Second function, more important than grabbing attention, is that all the words in your headline is the first place that the LinkedIn search algorithm will look at when people search for anything, right? So headline is first, then they only look at your other parts of the profile. So again, coming back to my earlier, hopefully some of you are, or most of you are marketing students, you know about meta tagging or keyword tagging, right? So your keyword tagging or meta tagging on LinkedIn profile happens in your headline. So whatever keywords that you put in your headline becomes very important, because why? It's the keywords that will be searched first by the LinkedIn search algorithm. Okay, so this is the basic. So 3 parts. Part 1, discipline of your study. So if you study Bachelor of Arts Business, right? Please don't write Bachelor of Arts Business. Just write business. Why? Somebody help me. So you shouldn't write Bachelor of Arts Business, Bachelor of Science Marketing, Bachelor of whatever. Just put the discipline, which is business. If you study engineering, electrical engineering, just put E and E, or electrical engineering. Don't put Bachelor of Engineering in electrical. Don't put Bachelor of Science in chemistry, just put chemistry. Or don't put Bachelor of Science bracket honors in chemistry, just put chemistry. Why? I know somebody asked why not. I want to see who can answer why. Thank you, Ji. All right. Winnie also, yeah. GMAT character, right? You got only 200. So you want more meta tag, you want to have as much keywords as possible fit into the 200 character. So by putting Bachelor of Science or Bachelor of Arts, you're wasting, right? Number 1. Number 2, no recruiter will search for Bachelor of Arts Marketing or Bachelor of Arts whatever. You know, if I want, I will just key in business. If I want, I put marketing. If I want, I put chemical engineering. I wouldn't type Bachelor of Engineering bracket honors chemical, right? Makes sense, right? So discipline of study, okay? So whatever you study, right? Don't waste it. Put that in your headline. That's part 1. Part 2, the type of job and the industry that you want to be in. For instance, so marketing, you can go into different type of industry. So assuming it is a marketing job, then don't repeat yourself. Don't put marketing, because your discipline is marketing. The job you also do is marketing. Don't do that, okay? If you are into some other areas, for instance, in FMCG world, there's positions called merchandising. Okay, then you can put merchandising, right? You don't need to have any experience in merchandising to put the word merchandising in your headline. Okay, don't worry about that. Later, you explain in the about section why you want to be a merchandiser. You give some justification to it, right? You aspire, that is your ambition, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth, right? Engineering example easier. So if let's say you do chemical engineering, you can go into oil and gas. So you put oil and gas there. You can go into glove. You put glove there. You can go into manufacturing. You put manufacturing there. You can go into, let's say, petrochemical. You put petrochemical there. So that is the industry. The type of job, you can put design. Let's say you want to be a design engineer, you want to be a production engineer, you want to be a analytical engineer, whatever type of job that you are looking for, put that in your headline. Okay, so marketing is the same thing. Let's say you are looking for digital marketing, then make sure the word digital marketing appear there. Whether you are looking at content marketing, then put the word content marketing in there, right? Again, you don't need experience to put that word there. You just justify it later to say that you aspire to do a job in digital marketing or content marketing, and for whatever reason, in your about section. Okay, so that's part 2. Part 3. Part 3 got 3 subparts. So this one complicated a bit, but you will understand. Got 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3, right? So to start with, part 3 is called uniquely you. That means only you got, other people don't have one, right? So 3.1 is your achievement, right? And achievement here includes things that is more valuable in nature, right? So don't write things like you are how to say faculty representative in your college debate competition. That one, not much value, right? But you may want to put things like this. There's a lot of, let's say, every year HSBC organize a global business challenge, business case challenge. So let's say you are not, if you winner, then put there, right? Winner of HSBC Global Case Challenge 2021, right? Finalists of what we call hot prize TARUC. I don't know whether TARUC got, I don't think so, right? Or finalists or semi-finalists of Eritas Utah competition, whatever. Whichever thing that has significant value, put that in your headline. Okay, again, this one is not to, nobody will search for it, but it's to grab attention because it's uniquely you. Right? That's the first one. 3.2 is what we call industry jargon, right? So anything that your industry, that or the industry that you want to go to, looking for, then you should put it in there. So for engineers, very easy lah. You put all your engineering software, you know, AutoCAD lah, MATLAB lah, SolidWorks lah. So all this you are good at, you just put that, all right? For business student, I won't suggest you put Microsoft. Please don't put Microsoft because that one is given. Okay, but there's a big but. If you have advanced Microsoft Excel skills, that means you know how to do VBA, you know how to do macros and all, you can put it in your headline. Microsoft Excel is a very valuable skill set in a lot of jobs. Okay, only Excel, PowerPoint, Word, all tak boleh cari makan one. Okay, so no need to talk about it. It's a given that you should know lah. You don't know, also you can learn lah, right? But if you have Excel, because there's a lot of analysis, data, and things like that, that you are advanced level, not basic level, basic level, don't shout about it, then you can put in your headline. Okay, if you are familiar with even statistical tools, right? You do a bit of, let's say, R programming, right? You are into data science. Yeah, you can put on R programming, those in computer science, you can put your C++, you can put Java, you can put PHP. All these things that only the people in that industry understand. Okay? You can put that in. Okay? As 3.2. Finish everything, you still got character. Comes to 3.3, you put what we call your qualities. This one is the last, I will say the last, right? You should not consider this. You should consider this if you have nothing else to put. So what are qualities? So you want to impress upon your future employers, you have this particular qualities of teamwork, of leadership, of planning, right? So whatever quality that you put there, later in your about section, make sure you got a story to back it up. Don't short only put teamwork. Everybody also put teamwork. But in your about section, you actually say, in my 3 years in TARUC, one of the things that I value most is my ability to work in different teams. For instance, in my second semester, I was with a group of foreign students trying to solve this assignment together, and language was a major barrier. Then you tell some story. Again, your, your about section, your about section is 2,000 characters. You can write until cows come home. Okay? So to be honest, Kapui, certain only very limited skill set needs certification to qualify you. Most skill set these days, even you have the certificate or you have attended the training, your employer wouldn't be impressed as well. Okay, so because it's very competitive, So we are only looking for the best of the best in a particular discipline, or that one will make you outstanding. If you are just a normal user or normal practitioner of any skill set, right? I will take in consideration you have that skill set, but I won't give you any additional points when interviewing you or recruiting you. It doesn't strike me as wow. So a lot of funny one. I also run CV sessions before, because part of my service to a government agency. So there was this girl who put there extensive experience managing social media sites. Wow. And also quick understanding of e-commerce platform. I was thinking like, no, are you pushing your luck? And specifically tell her not to do that. So because I'm reviewing the CV part of my program, tell her not to do it. Still go and hunter CV like that. Then one of the jobs she applied for, or this person applied for, I know the director. The director said, "Hey, by the way, this person in your in your whatever is it?" Then I said, "Aduh." For Coursera, you can just list it. You can list it, but again, not much value in terms of employment, right? It's just to show that you have taken the effort, lor. You have taken the effort. Okay. International cert means what? Marcus, for CGPA, you only shout about it if it's very high. Right? If it's 差不多, then okay lah, nobody care, to be honest, to be very honest. But if you have 4.0 CGPA, please mention it everywhere. Or 3.99 or 3.98, worth mentioning, yes. Yeah, Manwai, I don't understand what you mean by international cert.
Sir, Miss Loyong, she asked when connecting with big professionals on LinkedIn, what should we pay attention to?
Sorry, sir, you didn't open your mic.
Yeah, sorry. Right, sorry, Yongqi, missed that one. This one was on the other side. Okay. So I would suggest, if you are not comfortable connecting with professional managers on LinkedIn, I would suggest that you do this. You actually comment on their post first, right? And how do you comment on their post? You go to their profile, you look for their activity. So under their activity, there's 3 columns. There's all activities, there is articles, and there's posting, right? Then you click onto the posting column, and you see when was their last posting. Now, you don't need to comment on their post when it appears in your feed, because you are not connected with them. Whatever they post, it won't be on your feed. But you should actively pursue what are they posting and start commenting. And once you comment on their post, then it's easier for you to actually ask for a connection invite. Okay? So when you connect with them, please put them, give a personalized note. Don't just hit the send button. Please put a personalized note. That will increase your chance of getting accepted. The other thing is also to check whether they're active on LinkedIn. And if you go to their activities column, you will know whether they're active or not. If they're not active, no point connecting. You're wasting your time, right? Because they're also not active anyway, right?
Thank you, sir, for answering the question. Mr. Serangkong,
I think the last one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe just want to address Manwai's one. Can you be more specific on Manwai? Give me exactly what you mean, or give me the cert what you're talking about. Okay, well, you can respond on the chat. Yeah, I think we are ending soon, so I want to do this quick promo only, right? So, first and foremost, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, so that most of the things I share is related to your employability, to young graduates' employability, right? Yeah, that's number one. Number two, more importantly, every Friday night, okay? So this is what I realized. One of the biggest challenges graduates can't get a job in the corporate world is because that you don't spend enough time with corporate people. Your experience with corporate people is actually very limited. And if you just go for one-time internship in your 3 years of study, you probably only have like 3 months of internship experience. When I was in PwC, every month I have interns, and these are these are Malaysian returning from overseas for holiday. So they are Malaysians that went overseas for their tertiary education. Every time they come back for their summer break, they will do 1 month or 2 month internship in the Big Four, in the GLCs, and so forth. Right? So by the time they graduate, they got about 4 years, they got about 4 internship placement. That is why they are also more employable compared to the local graduates. Not just only because the bosses are more biased towards foreign graduates. It's also because they got more corporate experience. Right? Local graduate usually 1 internship experience, maximum 2. So they got like 4 minimum. 3 in Malaysia, 1 in UK, or 1 in US, or 1 in Australia. Okay? So I would suggest. So I was preaching this, I was suggesting this for the 3 years, for the last 3 years. I said, why you do this on LinkedIn is not to be seen on LinkedIn. You are using LinkedIn to connect with, with the professional, so that you get to know the professionals, managers, and the professional manager know you, and you build a relationship like Afid over a period of time. Then you can ask for advice, you can ask for a job, you can ask for internship over a period of time, not directly, right? But I find that a lot of times students don't know what to do or don't dare to do. So I started a session every Friday night. Every Friday night from 8:30 to 10 o'clock is on Zoom, right? This is not a webinar. This session on Friday night is not a webinar. It's a small group discussion. So I go into breakout, I assign everybody into breakout rooms. Each breakout room would have one professional manager as a mentor. And you spend 45 minutes to ask whatever questions, to have a conversation, to build your confidence, and hopefully improve your employment chance and employability, right? So I would really like to invite, right, all of you here to join me this Friday, okay? If you are available, it's free of charge, first and foremost. I have about 20 mentors that comes with me every Friday evening, spend 1 hour to 2 hours with the students, right? To actually just have conversation with them. So if you can, I really like to extend this opportunity to all of you to just the only catch about this session is you need to talk lah. It's not a webinar where you sit and listen, right? But anyone who have participated will agree with me that they get a lot of value from the session, right? So if you can, let me just share the page. There will be a registration link in the page, right, for next this Friday session, right? If you can just follow the page and also look for the posting that talks about this Friday session, register yourself, and then you get the access link, right? With that, thank you very much. I think I hit on the dot 10 o'clock. Okay, back to you, Ping Han.
Well, time flies so fast. I think that's all for the Q&A session for today's talk. Thanks to those who had asked questions energetically during this session. And last but not least, the greatest thanks to Mr. Koh Han for lending us his precious time to clarify our doubts. I believe that everyone has gained invaluable skill and knowledge from Mr. Koh.
A gentle reminder for dear participants, remember to fill in and submit the feedback form for this event by clicking on the link sent in the chat box just now, or you guys may scan the QR code they are presenting on the slides. Before that, please ensure that your bank transactions are completed. If not, your soft skills point will not be awarded. The submission of feedback form will represent the ticket for you to stand a chance in the later lucky draw session.
Now, let us present to Mr. Koh Mui Han an e-certificate to thank him for giving us a wonderful talk tonight. Mr. Koh, please give us your best smile as we are going to take a photo of you and the e-cert together, as well as the photo frame as our token of appreciation if you have already received it. Photographer, please get ready. Hi, Mr. Koh, are you ready? Okay, in 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, thank you, Mr. Koh.
Once again, thank you. Once again, thank you, Mr. Koh. Let us move on to the group photography session to record everyone's beautiful smiles. You guys are encouraged to open your camera roll to take a photo with us. I will now lend the mic to the photographer. Photographer, please get ready, and everyone, please on your cam to take a photo with us.
Hi everyone, please turn on your camera, okay? Okay, in 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, thank you. Thanks for the cooperation. I hope that everyone is having a great time tonight. Now, we have come to the Yes?
Sorry, I just, before you go, I go and, sorry, I didn't address Manwai's question. Manwai, yeah. Yeah, Manwai, if you got any cert that is of value, you can actually sit down. Not an issue, just to close that off. So sorry. Okay, yeah. Don't kacau, more important.
No problem, Mr. Koh. Thanks for the cooperation. I hope that everyone is having a great time tonight. Now we have come to the most exciting part of the event, that is the Lucky Draw session.
Tonight, some of us here will be walking away with the lucky draw prizes. Aren't you excited? Hopefully, everyone will be lucky tonight.
Absolutely, Red Alert. We would like to also offer our deepest gratitude to Philosophy Malaysia as the prizes that will be given away